Your brain is shrinking right now. I know that is a heavy, terrifying thing to hear. It's the kind of sentence that makes you want to turn off this video, walk away, and try to forget I ever said it. But I am not here to give you comfortable lies or sugarcoat a reality that I see every single day in my clinic. I am Dr. Michael Health, and in my 15 years of dedicated clinical experience specializing in senior health, I have learned that the greatest danger to your independence isn't age. It is the silence and the dismissiveness of the medical establishment. If you are over the age of 60, you have already felt this shrinkage. You felt it in that cold, paralyzing shiver of fear. When you walk into a room, you walk into that room and realize the reason you went there has simply vanished, leaving you standing there like a stranger in your own home. You felt it in the way a lifelong friend's name, someone you've known for 30 years, sits right on the tip of your tongue but refuses to surface. You felt it when you find yourself checking the stove or the front door 3 or 4 times because you just can't trust your own mind anymore. And here is the most infuriating part. You go to your primary care doctor. You tell them you're scared. You tell them you feel like you're losing the sharpness that defined your life. And what do? Most of them see you for 8 minutes before checking their watch. They'll pat you on the shoulder, give you a condescending smile, and tell you it's just normal aging. They hand you a glossy pamphlet, maybe suggest you do a few more crossword puzzles, and send you on your way. I am here to tell you right now they are wrong, and their silence is costing you your dignity and your future. What is happening to you is not an inevitable march toward the nursing home. It is a biological deficiency. You are being ignored by a medical system that makes significantly more money treating your long-term decline than it does preventing it. You aren't losing it. You are starving. Specifically, you are starving your brain of the raw structural materials it desperately needs during the most critical 8 hours of your life. You are starving your brain during the hours you are asleep. Tonight, we stop the shrinkage. We are going to discuss a forensic breakthrough in neuroscience that involves no drugs, no expensive brain supplements, and no complex mental exercises. It involves a specific ritualistic chewing protocol that I recommend you perform before your head hits the pillow. Stay with me for every minute of this video. I have ranked these 7 foods from helpful to extraordinarily powerful. And food number 1, the one we will end with, is something 99% of seniors are eating completely wrong. When you correct this one mistake, clinical research has shown it can ignite memory recall speed by over 63% in less than 30 days. Let's get to work. Before we get to the list, you must understand the why. Why am I talking about chewing? And why am I so focused on the hour before sleep? Inside your brain, there is a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. I want you to think of this chemical as the high-speed internet of your memory. It is the vital messenger that allows one neuron to talk to another. When your acetylcholine levels are high, your brain is a steel trap. You are sharp, you are witty, you are present, and you are engaged. You don't have to try to remember. The information is just there. But here is the forensic tragedy. After age 60, your brain's production of this chemical drops off a cliff. Clinical research shows a decline of up to 45%. Research shows a decline of 45% in adults between the ages of 60 and 75. When this internal internet goes down, your brain starts buffering. You can't find the word, you can't remember the face. You lose your train of thought in the middle of a sentence. Now here is the secret the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to focus on. Your brain does 90% of its filing work while you are asleep. This is a process we call memory consolidation. Imagine your brain is a busy high-pressure office building. During the day, papers are flying everywhere. Those papers are your experiences. By the time the sun sets, that office is a disaster area. Papers are all over the desks, the floor, and the hallways. At night, while you are in REM sleep, a nighttime repair and filing crew enters the building. Their job is to pick up those papers, decide which ones are important, and file them into the permanent steel cabinets of your long-term memory. But if that crew arrives and they have no tools, no energy, and no glue to stick the pages together, they simply give up. They leave the papers on the floor and go home. When you wake up the next morning, those memories are swept away by the cleaning crew of the morning. That is why you forget. If you aren't chewing the specific materials that I've identified as essential for that crew before bed, you are essentially sending that crew home early. By sending that crew home, you are leaving your memories to rot. Tonight, we change that. We are going to feed your brain's overnight repair crew exactly what they've been starving for. Let's begin building your tool belt. We start at number 7 with raw pumpkin seeds. I call these the mineral spark. I see people eating these all the time, but they eat them the wrong way. They buy them roasted, salted, and flavoured. From a neurological perspective, that is a complete waste of your money. To the aging brain, a roasted pumpkin seed is a dead seed. High heat destroys the delicate enzymes and the bioavailability of the minerals your brain is begging for. You need them raw to see any real medical results. You need them raw because they are the world's most concentrated source of magnesium. In my clinical experience, magnesium is the master key that unlocks the NMDA receptors in your brain. These receptors are the doorways to memory. Without enough magnesium, your neurons cannot create a permanent connection. The glue that holds your memories together never sets. I want you to take one small handful raw exactly 60 minutes before bed. But here is the vital part. You must chew them until they are a complete paste in your mouth. Do not just swallow them. This mechanical action of chewing releases salivary enzymes, specifically lingual lipase, that begin the mineral extraction before the seeds even reach your stomach. You are pre-digesting the medicine your brain needs. When you chew slowly, you are also telling your nervous system to shift into parasympathetic mode. This is the rest and digest state. If you are stressed when you eat, your brain cannot absorb these minerals. So take your time, turn off the television, make this a ritual. Think about the magnesium being released into your system, ready for the repair crew to arrive and start fixing those neural doorways. Moving to number 6, organic walnuts. I call these the brain's blueprint. Nature isn't subtle. A walnut looks exactly like a human brain because it is biochemically designed to fuel one. Walnuts are loaded with alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. I've reviewed the landmark UCLA studies showing that seniors who eat walnuts have significantly higher cognitive scores, but here is the forensic secret that most health gurus won't tell you. Do not peel off that thin, papery, slightly bitter brown skin on the outside of the walnut. I know it tastes sharp. I know you want to rub it off to make the nut taste sweeter. But that bitterness is where 90% of the walnut's antioxidants and protective polyphenols live. In my clinic, I tell my patients the bitterness is the medicine. That skin is the armor that protects the healthy fats inside. When you eat it, that armor is transferred to your brain. Your brain is 60% fat, and as you age, that fat can become rancid due to oxidative stress. These walnuts provide the high-quality oil your brain needs. These walnuts provide the lubricant your brain needs to stay sharp. I recommend 5 walnut halves chewed slowly. Let that bitterness coat your tongue and stay there for a moment. This signals your brain to prepare for lipid repair while you sleep. If you've been feeling rusty, if your thoughts feel like they are dragging through mud, this is the lubricant your pathways have been missing. Number 5 on our list is something almost nobody in the senior health space is talking about correctly. Dried tart cherries. This is what I call the glymphatic flush. I am not talking about the sweet dark cherries you find in the fruit salad. I am talking about Montmorillon tart cherries. At night, your brain has a specific trash collection system. This system is the glymphatic system. It is a network of microscopic channels that opens up while you sleep to flush out toxic proteins, specifically amyloid beta, that are the primary drivers of Alzheimer's and cognitive decline. Tart cherries contain the highest natural levels of melatonin found in any food on the planet. But we aren't using them just to help you fall asleep. This melatonin acts as an antioxidant power washer for your brain's mitochondria, the energy factories inside your neurons. Recent research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed tart cherry juice or dried tart cherries daily showed significant improvements in episodic memory. That helps you remember where you were last Tuesday or what you said this morning. I recommend 20 dried tart cherries. Make sure they are unsweetened. Chewed thoroughly 45 minutes before you go to sleep. As you chew these, imagine you are pre-treating the brain's plumbing so the cleaning fluid can flow faster once you drift off. Most of my patients who start this notice that their dreams become more vivid within just 3 to 5 nights. That is a clinical sign that your nighttime janitor is finally cleaning the hallways of your mind again. I want to pause here and tell you about a patient of mine named Rebecca. She was 74 years old, a retired nurse, someone who understood medicine, someone who was used to being in charge of her life. She came to my office because she was losing her car. She would go into a grocery store for 20 minutes, and when she walked out, she would stand in the center of the parking lot and realize she had no idea where she had parked. She would wander for 20 minutes, panicked, her heart racing, looking for a white sedan that she couldn't even picture in her mind. Her own doctor, a man she had trusted for a decade, told her it was early-onset dementia. He told her she needed to start looking into assisted living facilities while she was still lucid enough to sign the legal paperwork. He effectively told her that her life as an independent woman was over. When I looked at Rebecca, I didn't see a broken brain. I saw a starving one. I looked at her labs and saw she was depleted of the exact minerals and healthy fats we are discussing today. I put her on this exact nighttime chewing ritual. I told her to stop the crackers and the cheese she usually had before bed and switched to this protocol. 4 weeks later, she didn't just find her car. She called my office laughing and told me she had started teaching bridge at the community center again. She said, "Dr. Heltham, it felt like someone finally wiped the thick fog off my glasses. I can see again." Rebecca wasn't a miracle. She was a biological reality that had finally been given the right tools at the right time. Rebecca was being prepared for a nursing home. She just needed raw materials. How many of you are being told to just accept it when the solution is sitting in your local grocery store? Moving to number 4, soaked raw almonds. These are the membrane protectors. Everyone knows almonds are healthy, but almost everyone is eating them the wrong way. For memory restoration. Almonds are packed with vitamin E, which is a fat-soluble antioxidant. This is the frontline defense for your brain cells. Your brain is made of delicate, fatty membranes. And as you age, those fats can become damaged by free radicals, the biological equivalent of rust. Vitamin E is the armor that prevents that rust. But if you eat them dry and brown straight out of the bag, you're only getting about 30% of that benefit. You miss the benefit because raw almonds contain enzyme inhibitors and phytic acid in their skin that actually block your body from absorbing the vitamin E. Your body can't get past the gatekeeper. This is what I tell my patients. You must soak your almonds in a bowl of water for at least 8 hours before you eat them. When you soak them, the almond wakes up. The skin becomes loose and easy to peel off. By removing that soaked skin, you increase the bioavailability of the nutrients by over 60%. I recommend 8 to 10 of these soaked, peeled almonds right before bed. Chew them until they are liquid. This provides a time-release coating of vitamin E that protects your brain. This protects your brain during the cleaning cycle we discussed with the tart cherries. You are essentially putting on a protective suit before the power washer turns on. Number 3, 85% dark chocolate. I call this the brain fertilizer. I can hear some of you smiling, but I am very serious. This is not a treat. It is a clinical intervention. High-percentage cacao contains a compound called epichin. This compound triggers the production of something called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. In my clinic, I call BDNF Miracle Grow for the brain. It doesn't just protect your old neurons. It actually encourages the birth of new neurons in the hippocampus, the very center of your memory. It strengthens the brain's ability to learn and adapt. A major study in Nature Neuroscience found that seniors who consumed high flavanol cacao daily for 3 months showed hippocampal function that looked like people decades younger. But there's a catch. You cannot have this with milk. If you drink a glass of milk with your chocolate, or even eat milk chocolate, the proteins in the dairy bind to the flavonoids and prevent them from ever reaching your brain. You're just eating sugar at that point. I want you to take exactly 1 ounce, about 1 square, of 85% dark chocolate. It must be 85% or higher. Eat it alone, let it melt as you chew it slowly. By doing this, you are fertilizing the soil of your brain just as the repair crew is clocking in. Number 2, kiwi fruit. This is the REM stimulator. This fruit is a powerhouse for the aging brain, and its benefit has everything to do with the quality of your sleep. As we get older, we spend less time in deep REM sleep. This is the specific stage of sleep where memories are encoded and saved. If you aren't getting enough REM, it doesn't matter how many vitamins you take. Your brain can't hit the save button on the day's data. Kiwi fruit is one of the highest natural sources of serotonin. Serotonin isn't just a feel-good mood chemical. It is the direct precursor to the deep sleep cycles your brain craves. A study followed seniors who ate 2 kiwis and showed higher recall scores. I want you to eat 2 ripe kiwis. Peel them, but make sure you chew the tiny black seeds thoroughly. Those seeds contain specific oils that help the serotonin cross the blood-brain barrier. When you chew these kiwis, you are setting the chemical stage for the entire night. You are ensuring that when you hit REM sleep, your brain has the signal it needs to begin the filing process. Are you finding this information valuable? If you've ever felt like the medical system has stopped listening to you, I want you to hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that seniors deserve the truth, not just pamphlets, and comment the word ready if you are prepared to try this for 30 days. I want to tell you about James, 78 years old, a retired mechanical engineer. His whole life was built on logic, blueprints, and precision. When he came to me, he was a shell of himself. He had gotten lost driving home from his own son's house, a drive he'd made for 20 years. He sat in my office and said, "Dr. Health, I feel like I'm already dead. I'm just waiting for my body to catch up." I told him, "James, your blueprints are still there. We just need to fix the filing system." He was skeptical. He thought the idea of chewing specific foods was nonsense, but he was desperate. He committed to this 30-night ritual of nighttime chewing. At the 6W week mark, James came back. He didn't just look better. He sounded different. His sentences were sharp. His eyes were clear. He told me he had started working on an old vintage car in his garage again, something he hadn't had the mental energy for in 5 years. He looked at me and said, "I'm not lost anymore." That is what this is about. Reclaiming your life. Being the person who remembers the names at the dinner party. Being the grandparent who tells the stories, not the one who forgets the ending. Now let's talk about the fuel that James used to reach that point. We have reached the top of the list. Number 1, I'll be honest with you, this is the one most of my colleagues are too afraid to recommend because it isn't elegant and it doesn't come in a pretty bottle with a high price tag. But I don't care about elegance. I care about your memory. The number 1 food you should be chewing before bed for memory restoration is raw garlic. I can hear the groans through the screen. But listen to the science, because this is the forensic heavyweight of the health world. Raw garlic contains a compound called allicinin. Allicinin is one of the most powerful neuroregenerative compounds ever studied. When it enters your bloodstream, it crosses the blood-brain barrier better than almost any drug on the market. Once inside, it activates a pathway in your brain called NRF2. Think of NRF2 as the master alarm for your brain's defense system. When you activate it, your brain begins producing its own internal antioxidants, including something called glutathione. Glutathione is the mother of all antioxidants. It is the only substance capable of reversing the oxidative rust that builds up on your neurons over 60 or 70 years. A 2024 study found that seniors who consumed raw garlic regularly showed a 63% improvement in memory recall speed. But here is why everyone is doing it wrong. If you cook the garlic, the allicin is destroyed. If you take a garlic pill, the allicin is never created, because the reaction only happens when it's chewed. Allicinin is a chemical reaction that only happens when 2 enzymes inside the garlic are forced to meet, and they only meet when the garlic is crushed or chewed. If you don't chew it, you don't get the miracle. It's that simple. Here is exactly how I want you to do it. Take 1 small to medium clove of raw garlic. Crush it with the flat side of a knife and let it sit on your cutting board for 5 to 10 minutes. This pre-activates the align. Then you must chew it thoroughly. Yes, it will burn. That burn is the chemical reaction that is going to save your mind. Follow it immediately with that square of dark chocolate to help transport the allicin. Follow the garlic with the chocolate to neutralize the burn. This is the ultimate nighttime memory switch. I am giving you a choice tonight. You can keep doing what you have been doing. You can keep listening to the pamphlet doctors who have already written you off. You can keep buying the sugary brain drinks and watching your memories fade away like an old sun-bleached photograph. Or you can start this nighttime protocol tonight. Here is your back-to-sharp plan that I want you to commit to. About 90 minutes before bed, I want you to eat your 2 kiwis and your handful of raw pumpkin seeds and walnuts. Then 30 minutes before bed, eat your final items. 30 minutes before bed, I want you to take that 1 clove of crushed raw garlic, chew it, and follow it with your square of dark chocolate, your soaked almonds, and your tart cherries. I want you to make a commitment to me and to yourself. Do this for 30 nights. Don't skip a single one. I want you to keep a simple notebook by your bed. When you wake up, I want you to note your dreams. You will notice they become more vivid. That is the sound of your filing crew finally going back to work. You are not broken. You have just been given a system that wasn't designed for your success. Tonight, we change the system. Share this video with 1 person you love who is starting to forget. You might be the person who saves their independence. I am Dr. Michael Health. Stop being a spectator in your own decline. Start chewing. I will see you in the next consultation. Stay sharp. If you are ready to reclaim your mind, type ready in the comments below. We are a community of seniors who refuse to go quietly into the night. We choose health, we choose science, and we choose to remember. Take care of yourself, and I'll be back next week with more forensic health guidance for those of us over 60. Until then, remember that aging is mandatory, but memory loss is optional.